Hi, I'm Dr. Tim Edwards, Workshops Manager at the Victorian College of the Arts. Today, we're going to be casting bronze in this furnace. So this is the first part of the process whereby we make an object out of a combustible material. My preference is for wax, which is quite a traditional material to work with. In this work, I'm investigating ripples and folds, which will translate nicely into metal. Once we're happy with our object, we move on to the next bit, which is called spruing. And what that means is it's basically connecting some plumbing into the object so that when we pour the metal into the mould, it actually reaches down into the actual object. So we can use hot knives, for example, with the Bunsen burner here. Once we've got a good join with the spruing and the object, an important part is to coat our wax object with shellac. The reason being, it breaks the surface tension and allows the plaster material to go onto the surface with less air bubbles and a better surface. So once our shellac's dried, we then move on to the next phase, which is making the mould, or called the investment. We start by rolling up some chicken wire into a cylinder, making sure that we've got an inch or so all around the object. And then we wrap it in just household vinyl, like so, to which we then start mixing some plaster. What we're mixing is casting plaster and Ontacar. Ontacar is what tennis court stuff, so it's actually crushed brick. The texture we're looking for is like a lumpy porridge, if you like. Okay, that's ready to go now. The next part of our investment mould is to put our object within it. Just give it a little jiggle to get the air bubbles off, and then we just let that set. Now our investment mould is set. I'll just pull that out because we don't actually need that. So once the wax object's melted out, it'll be the negative of our object within this space. Okay, there we go, that's our mould in the kiln. We'll turn the kiln on for 4 days. It'll hit a maximum temperature of 650 degrees, which will melt away the wax, clean off any carbon, ready for pouring in the molten bronze. And so she goes. Now this is our furnace. First we lay down a bit of cardboard. What that does, it burns away straight away when we light the furnace. But that acts like a release so that the crucible itself doesn't stick inside the furnace. This is our crucible. It's made of silica carbide. It can stand a couple of thousand degrees, maybe 2,000 degrees. It's very brittle, so we have to be very gentle with it. And next step's gas on. We've set our temperature for 1,200 degrees. Currently it's 20 degrees inside the furnace. So we'll turn the furnace on. We'll go through a startup procedure and then it'll ignite. Here we go, it should be it now. $650 degrees, clean as a whistle. We've just taken the moulds out of the kiln. They're at 200 degrees. We put them in the sandpit to maintain the temperature so there's no shock when the metal goes in. Also, in case there's a spill, a mould may crack, the metal can pour everywhere. So it's basically just to contain it. Now that we're up to 500 degrees, we'll start to pre-warm the ingots on top of the furnace there. The reason why we pre-warm them is to make sure there's absolutely no moisture. If there's even a drop of water, when we put them into the molten bronze, the furnace will superheat the water so quickly that it'll expand and explode. So safety first, we'll make sure everything's toasty and warm. We're moving into the next phase now. It's called charging the furnace, which basically means we very gently lay the ingots into the crucible and they're getting red hot. We've got our metal all molten in our furnace. We're about to cast. I'm not a religious person, but I do a ritual of Father, Son, the Holy Spirit to make sure it all goes smoothly. Okay. Okay, our moulds are cooled down enough to crack them open and see what's inside. As these are a single-use mould, we actually have to break it open with a mattock. There she is. As you can see, there's still some mould material stuck on it, but we've got a successful cast. So the next stage is I'll take it and I'll sandblast off the residue, remove the sprues, file, sand, apply patina and a beeswax, and then we'll be finished.